Hello, this is Ariadne Rainbird talking about Epona, the Gaulish horse goddess. Epona is a Gaulish goddess whose name means Great Mare or Divine Mare. She was a very popular goddess, and more is probably known about her than any other Celtic goddess due to her adoption by the Roman army. She is the only Celtic deity who was given her own festival day in Rome itself, with the Eponalia being celebrated on 18th of December as part of the Saturnalia festivities. She became the patroness of the Roman cavalry, and shrines for Epona were often placed in the stables of the cavalry horses. The Roman army, particularly in Gaul, had a lot of Gaulish mercenaries who were employed in the Roman army, who introduced the cult of Epona to the Roman cavalry. Although Epona was originally a Gaulish goddess, there are no inscriptions about her in the Gaulish language. Most inscriptions are in Latin, with a few in Greek. Many of the Epona inscriptions are Roman altars with a carved focus on the top for offerings and libations, and an inscription on the front. An inscription from Hungary reads, "This altar is dedicated to the spirit of the squadron and to Epona, queen." Some altars are dedicated just to Epona, whilst others are dedicated to Roman deities as well as Epona. Epona was depicted extensively in artwork, on coins and statues, and various epithets and inscriptions name and describe her. She is a goddess who appears to have been known universally amongst the Celtic peoples, although her origins are lost in the mists of time. Epona may have been connected with the ancient mysteries and linked to the cults of Demeter and Despina. Numerous frescoes, relief carvings, statues, sculptures and figurines depicting Epona have been discovered from the Black Sea to Britain, and hundreds of stone monuments to her have been discovered in France. Various different symbols, words and phrases are used to describe Epona. In pre-Roman Celtic imagery, Epona appears either just as a horse or as a kind of warrior woman riding a horse. In Roman images, she becomes more benign, as a beneficent figure with pateras of food, grain and cornucopias, though also goddess of the cavalry, and hence still has the warlike nature. A comparable figure exists in Manx folklore with the Tehei legend. The Tehei is a death-dealing horsewoman. Epona may also be associated with the Irish Morrigan, also called Queen, the Great Queen, and associated with battle, and with Mare, an Irish goddess and warrior queen, also associated with horses. Although Epona had around 30 different symbols, the horse was the only one which always appeared in depictions of her. Epona was mostly depicted fully clothed, dressed like a Celtic noblewoman with a long belted robe. 2 exceptions have been found where she is depicted semi-nude with her breasts bared. Mackenzie Cook in 2015, in his book on Epona, says that the bare breasts symbolise the sun and its life-nurturing qualities, and also invoked the primal sexuality underlying her feminine mysteries. In one case, the powerful nymph-like attraction of her earthly sexual fertility, and in the other, the archetypal fertilising rays of the sun, fecundating the earth. Epona was generally depicted seated side-saddle upon a horse, but sometimes astride or reclining on a horse or standing between 2 horses. Mackenzie Cook argues that each of these positions expressed her sovereignty, freedom and fertility in different but interconnected ways. He states that sitting side-saddle has precedence in images of Cybele sitting sideways on the back of a lion, and is a characteristic pose implying sovereignty. Sitting astride a horse conveyed a sense of intimate command and ecstatic joy, whereas reclining emphasised primal nymph-like attraction and sexual fertility. Images of Epona from outside Gaul, and particularly in Britain, depict her seated or sometimes standing between 2 or more horses or asses. Seated goddesses also suggest sovereignty and deities of great importance, and the image of a throned goddess flanked by animals also has earlier precedence in images of Cybele with her lions, and a Neolithic image from Cataloiac in Turkey, which depicts a seated goddess flanked by lions. Epona, flanked by her horses, may be an example of Potnia Theron, the mistress of the animals. Gaulish coins from the 4th and 3rd century BCE show a naked female figure astride a horse, sometimes brandishing a weapon. These naked images express Epona's wild, uninhibited freedom, as well as her warrior nature and exultation in victory. Epona is mentioned in Roman literature by a number of authors. The satirist Juvenal satirises a horse-mad nobleman named Lateranus, who is rebelling against his family and associating with the lower classes, such as the mule drivers, and is hanging around in the stables and worshipping their deities. Juvenal says of him that at a sacrifice to Jupiter, Lateranus refused to swear an oath by any deity other than Epona or other figures from the stables. Apuleius in the Golden Ass also mentions Epona, with his character Lucius, turned into an ass, having been told that he can only turn human again by eating roses, finds some in a stable where he sees a statue of the goddess Epona in a small shrine in the middle of the stable by a pillar. The statue had been garlanded with fresh roses. Epona was seen as a protector of horses by the Romans and was highly important to the cavalry. The Eponalia festival was celebrated as a public holiday, and people, especially those involved with horses, would offer prayers, sacrifices and libations to Epona, seeking her favour and protection. A key part of the celebrations also involved allowing horses and donkeys a day off from work, recognising their importance to daily life and agriculture. Possible offerings included roses, as Apuleius mentions, ground meal and wine, reflecting both Roman and Celtic religious practices. Due to Eponalia being a midwinter festival and in the midst of the Saturnalia, some people believe that Eponalia is the origin of the Mare custom, though there is no hard evidence for this. The two festivals do resonate, however, and some modern pagans choose to celebrate Eponalia with the Mare. I'm now going to read a hymn to Epona. Hail to thee, Epona Regina, great Mare Mother, Matri Caballorum. Hail to thee, Regani Epo, Lady of herds, keeper of stables. Thou who feedest the foal at the udder, thou who guidest the rider through darkness. Come, O Domina Equorum, with swift hand. Come, O dear potens, with shining steed. Grant pasture, grant plenty, grant safety to horse and man. Hail to thee, Epona Regani, ever praised, ever remembered, ever seated among thy horses. And for more on horse goddesses and the Mare, please check out my book, Mystic Mares and the Mare. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.